We are live. I'm going to give you 3 steps that will help you transform your physical health, your career, or your business. Stay tuned and stay to the end because I have something special to share with you. This literally changed my life. It all started with this fat, depressed guy glaring at me in the mirror. That's right, that was me 21 years ago. Actually, 22 years ago now. I had gotten to a place where I had put on a lot of weight. I'm 5'8" and I was about 215 pounds. I had put on about 50 pounds. And as I looked at myself in the mirror, I was disgusted with myself. And that moment in time, the decision I was about to make could keep me stuck, fat, depressed, or it could take me to the place that God created me to go by stepping into who He created me to be. And this is so true for you. So the first step is to first embrace the truth. All transformation begins with the truth. And if you don't embrace the truth, if you keep telling yourself little lies, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it here, it's not that bad. You know, you've done this. I've done this. So you have to be honest with yourself. I got to the place that I realized where I was. And so at that moment in time, I made a critical choice. I put down the box of donuts, threw them away, and took a walk around the block. That was it. Nothing major, just a simple walk around the block. That's it. The most difficult thing is getting started. And so, first and foremost, it's about embracing the truth because, and I'm going to be redundant on purpose, all transformation begins with the truth. And then you have to be committed and take action. Now, a lot of people will start New Year's resolutions and they'll have these 2 things, but they don't have step number 3 in place. And so that's very important. They all work together and they have to be in alignment. If you don't get to step 3, then you'll be like in New Year's resolutions where you get to the 3rd week or the 4th week in the gym and then you're done. So I walked around that block that one day, and just to back up a few steps, a few years before that, my mom died, my dad died. I went through a divorce. I got fired. I was living out of my ego, and I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit trail, but this is so important for you because these 3 steps are essential. But if you don't understand how to regulate your emotions, guess what? Your emotions will regulate you. Your emotions will process you if you don't process your emotions. So I have a book, The 4 Revelations to Live Within God's Blueprint for Your Life and Business. And if you would like a copy of this complimentary from me, just put in the chat below, in the comments below, wherever you're watching this from, God's Blueprint, and I'll be happy to send it your way. My gift to you. So do that because this is essential. I learned this after what I went through here, and it's so important. So back to the 3 steps, embracing the truth. That's where transformation starts, committing, taking action. And it's not about doing like major stuff. That's what I usually would do. It's like, okay, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out for 3 hours. And if I don't have 3 hours of workout, I'm not going to do it. That's setting yourself up for failure. Let me introduce the 1% rule from James Clear from Atomic Habits. This is an amazing rule. And if you follow this rule, it will change your life. The 1% rule says Little 1% changes done daily. Very important. Consistency daily is really important, but just 1% changes. Not going to the gym and working out for 3 hours, not like I'm going to get this and I'm going to develop this funnel and everything for my business in the next 24 hours. I'm going to work straight. No, there's times where you're going to have to work more, and that's okay. But I'm talking about 1% changes made each and every day. It leads to 37x growth in whatever that area of your life, in your business, in your career that you're focusing on. That's 3,700%. That 37 time improvement growth. And here's what the British cycling team found out by implementing the 1% rule. They had not won a gold medal in 100 years. So they implemented the 1% rule. You know what they did? You know what? One of the first 1% things they did one day is they painted the inside of their bike trailer, where they house these very expensive bikes, white. Now, why? What's the purpose of doing that? What does that do? So they could see the dust on the chain more clearly. Because if you have dust on the chain, that's going to slow you down just a fraction. The next thing they did is they tested their indoor uniforms versus their outdoor uniforms. And guess what they found out? Their indoor uniforms were less wind resistant than their outdoor uniforms. So guess what? They rode with their indoor uniforms even when they were outside. So they kept making these 1% changes. And over the next 6 years, they won the Tour de France. I believe this is very accurate. It's either 4 out of 5 years or 4 out of the next 6 years. They won the Tour de France and they won several gold medals, which they had not won in many, many, many decades. So for me, with the 1% rule, I didn't even know about the 1% rule. I don't believe the 1% rule was even written back in 2004. This is where I was fat, depressed. I was just in a bad place. But I committed and I walked around the block. The next day I walked around the block twice. That was my 1%. And then I started doing some push-ups and some body squats. And I kept increasing little things. Then I started eating less. I literally, before this, getting to this place where I was with fat and depressed, was I would just eat. That was my drug, one of my drugs. And I remember I was just eating, and I don't know why I had such a craving for watermelon, but 11:30 at night, I would just eat watermelon, and then I would just fall asleep. Didn't brush my teeth. No, I know it's disgusting. If you ever been in a dark place, super dark, depressed state, you understand what I'm talking about. I would just eat it, and I would just collapse and then wake up and then eat all day long. So continued making these 1% changes. And here's something: I started going to the gym. I started working out with weights. Just 1% changes each and every day, done consistently. That's important. The 1% rule does not apply if you're not making those 1% changes each and every day. And it's not very much. And here's the thing that we get stuck in. We keep doing something and then we get more and more and more. And then one day we're tired and we're like, oh man, I just don't have it today. I'm just going to do it tomorrow. This is what I did on those days where I was exhausted and I was tired and I didn't want to work out. I'm like, and I was just super busy. Have you been there? I'm like, I have 10 minutes, so I'm going to work out as hard as I can for 10 minutes. That's it. I can't go to the gym and work out for 2 hours or hour and a half or whatever it was, get me down. I just worked out for 10 minutes and did everything I could. So that little shift and change, that was a 1% change in my mind, actually more like a 50% change in my mindset, because we as people can think if we don't do all these different things, then we're not doing something. So you got to give yourself a break. You have to reward yourself for the progress you make. There's a good book on the subject, The Gap and the Gain by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I forget the co-author's name right now. It will come to me later on. Dan Sullivan. And the gap and the gain is it. The gap is, oh man, I'm here, but look at how far I have to go to my goal. The gain is look back and look at how much progress I've made. The biggest battle is up here in your mind. And if you don't change your perspective and how you think about things, then you'll keep doing things the way you've always done those. So that mindset in realizing I'm just going to do what I can do with the time I have allotted to me, and that's okay. I didn't beat myself up. And so little by little, by little by little, I started eating healthier. I started eating less. I started not eating watermelon right before bed. I started not eating like 3 hours before bed. I brushed my teeth before bed. I made all these changes. And little by little by little, I looked in the mirror and I noticed the guy and I saw hope. I saw hope in that guy's eyes. That was me. And I started to realize that I am God's workmanship, created for good works, which he prepared in advance for me to do. That's a Bible verse. And so now I was starting to not be who he created me to be and acting out of who I am, my identity. My identity, my being was affecting what I do. Before, my identity was I'm a depressed guy, that my dad's gone, my mom's gone, my dad disappeared when I was little. I'm not worthy, and I got divorced. I'm a terrible guy. I got fired. I'm worthless. All these different messages, these stories I was telling myself just took me to a place where I was in a lot of pain and I was in a lot of darkness. And so I didn't know how to regulate those emotions, to process those, because I learned my entire life to suppress those. And by the way, when you suppress your emotions, they don't disappear. They come back much, much uglier later on in life. If you ever are triggered by someone cutting you off on the freeway, you are not regulating your emotions. You are not processing them, because them cutting you off should not make you go into road rage. Or if someone is road raging on you, it's not that getting cut off or someone's following too close or whatever they're doing. That is just a symptom of the problem. And you're being triggered. And because of that thing that happened that you didn't process because you didn't know how or you didn't want to, that emotion is now processing you and is coming back much uglier later on life. It's like The Walking Dead. Those zombies, that is the picture of your ideas and your thoughts and emotion being suppressed. They come back looking like a zombie, and you start spraying your anger and your bitterness on everyone else when they trigger you. When you look to self-promote and self-protect, you're living from a place where you are not understanding your identity and you are not regulating your emotions. Okay. Slight rabbit trail. Again, the book, The 4 Revelations to God's Blueprint for Your Life and Business. I have the David framework and how to regulate, become self-aware, and process your emotions using David's Psalms. It changed my life. It saved my life. And so many people that have gone through this, they say the same things. So let me end with this. First and foremost, be honest with yourself. All transformation begins with the truth. If you don't start there, ain't nothing going to happen. You're going to keep living in mediocrity and you're not going to be able to become who God created you to be. Okay. Second is commit and take action. One small step. Getting started is the hardest part. I have something in my business where it's called the Transformation Adventures for entrepreneurs to start living from God's infinite wisdom and power instead of their finite understanding and strength. Just makes sense, doesn't it? And as I improve the transformation adventure, I just do one thing a day, that 1% thing each and every day. That's it. And it's amazing over the last couple of weeks as I've been doing just one improvement on the transformation adventure to impact the people so their lives are truly transformed, how much progress I have made. In 12 months, it's going to be 37x, big time. I can see it already that's going to happen. Then after you commit and take action, you got to be consistent, continue with those 1% changes each and every day, just 1%. And remember, when I only had 10 minutes to work out because I was so busy or I was exhausted, I just went for it for 10 minutes. I didn't beat myself up. And remember this with perspective. It's not like, oh, here I am. Look at how far I have to go. I'll never make it. No, it's look back, look where you were. I was a fat, depressed guy. I mean, I was in darkness. I was a fat, depressed guy, love handles. Oh, man. This is another thing that really did it to me, too. I was watching a family video of my kids and I saw my love handle hanging on my swimsuit, and I didn't own the truth at that period, but it was definitely it was something that I noticed. It was like, oh my gosh, Chaz, you have really got to do something. Then I saw myself in the mirror, and that's when I did something. Anyway, so instead of the gap, this is how far I have to go, and I'm only this far. It's here's where I started, and look at how far I've come. If you don't look at things with that perspective, the gain perspective, you'll probably lose the inspiration and commitment to continue to move forward, because we all need inspiration to continue with our commitment so that we're consistent with those 1% changes each and every day. If you do this, your career, your physical health, your business will be radically changed. In 12 months from now, you'll be in a place that you never thought or imagined. That's my promise to you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.